Well, this video is going to be me entertaining some ignorance. Okay? I made a comment with a statement of if there's corruption and police negligence, you get what you get. That comment was made by me under a video that stated that because of the police misconduct in black communities, that there are people that I guess that made threats against law enforcement, that if they caught them in the act of doing something that appeared to be of police misconduct, that they were going to target the police. Now, I've also said that I don't condone any acts of violence. I don't believe in killings. Period. Whether you in law enforcement and it's not self-defense and you're just killing because you can and you can get away with it because you're protected by qualified immunity in these police unions. So the blanket that you're protected under, that an average citizen doesn't have that representation, yes, I have a problem with. I'm also not cool with people with that vigilante mentality targeting police as if it's okay to just kill somebody while they're on duty. I understand the frustration. I understand the anger. But you do not engage acts of violence with violence, especially senseless violence. And I thought in my follow-up statements and answering some of the rebuttals under my comment that I made that clear, but apparently I didn't. Now, in regards to me entertaining the ignorance, somebody had the audacity, the nerve to say that I was racist. But they're not clear, or they didn't clarify how I'm racist. I could conveniently say, okay, so am I racist because as a person who's mixed with both black and white, because I was adopted into an all black family, that I'm pro black, so I got an issue with white people? Or could it be that in who I've dated or who I found myself involved with, who just so happen to be white, or me having kids that are mixed, such as myself, that I have a thing against black people? I'm trying to understand how I'm racist. I mean, I, I look at things and I try to argue points on what's right and what's wrong. What I see is fair versus what's unfair. That is what my argument is solely based on. Now, if race happens to play a role in the debate and I have to argue a point, which I feel that I balanced the scales pretty well, using examples on both ends, especially with law enforcement, because not only do I speak of how law enforcement interact with their attitude in the black community, I also talk about the injustices of how they affect those in the white community as well. You know, that thing called balancing the scales. Um, I've also made videos of saying something to the effect of Do I feel that white people should apologize for things that has happened to black people? I said, in my opinion, this is my opinion alone. When you speak of white people, what white people are you speaking of specifically? Because they are just as diverse as black people are. It's easy to make generalizations to make a blanket statement, you know? But with that being said, I'm not dismissive of the history in this country that has put black people through such bullshit, from slavery to Jim Crow to the Willie Lynch to segregation to black people being in the military fighting in World War One, along with the French against Germany. But yet the Germans, as POWs, have more rights than blacks who were Americans. And this is during the time of segregation, right? And then you had to deal with such cases as in Tulsa, the bombing of the Black Wall Street, and how that incident transpired. The Rosewood Massacre. How they did experiments on black people. And one that's the most famous that I could point out that I think people are aware of is the Tuskegee experiment, where they purposely infected black men with syphilis to see how the symptoms will play out. That was messed up. And they had black nurses to go along with that shit. The Civil Rights Movement. The Voting Rights Act. The Fight for Equality. The Equal Housing Act. Fair banking. You know, and all of this I had to learn. I have knowledge of. And I'm still learning, so to speak. You know? I argue because I'm not dismissive of things that we should be made aware of. But people feel comfortable not acknowledging certain truths, because to have that conversation, you have to step outside your comfort zone. And some people don't want to do that. You know? When I speak about racism itself, I speak of how there are black people that have racial prejudices. I've seen it myself. I also seen and experienced white people in certain areas that don't like black people and let you know in one form or another that they don't care for you. It don't matter how educated you are, how intelligent you may come across, if you have a job, if you're not that stereotype that they love to like throw to justify why they act ignorant towards certain people. I've dealt with that. But let me present those experiences in the argument, then I deal with the deflection. I also stated that just because I'm mixed, it never shielded me from any type of discrimination or prejudices coming from other people. I dealt with that. What's even worse, I can't sugarcoat shit to my children. I gotta tell them that not only are you gonna deal with certain nonsense from the black community, depending on what it is that you're going to be entertaining, but from white people, from Hispanic people, from Asian people, from all sorts of all sorts of types of people. I challenge people. See, I don't do that. What's so comfortable and stuff like that, because people get too complacent in their conditioned mindset. They're not challenged and stuff. Because as long as they hearing what they want to hear, and it doesn't de- deter them from hearing something different, or seeing something from a different perspective, or having an open mind about other things, they don't care to know, or they choose not to know. I find it funny when people who don't know people, especially in in certain platforms, and they want to sit there and call out somebody. Do your research instead of making yourself look like an ass. Because I'm good at roasting people. It's part of what I do sometimes. And if people decide that they want to troll me, I could troll even harder. But sometimes, but sometimes the nonsense isn't always entertaining. Sometimes you gotta just understand people are just ignorant, and they try to project their ignorance onto others. But they don't want to be called out on that, because they themselves don't want to be labeled as. I'm just saying. I don't know. This country is something else. But that's all I want to say today. I figured I'd just get that off my chest. That's me. How should I say, venting a little bit. But until next time, when I find something more, how should I say, uh, tangible to talk about, you'll find me in the next video.